Clara 10. This is my first ever story time video, and it is entitled, as you saw below, What You Mixed With. So stay tuned. Okay, I'm back. So this story takes place in about 2007, 2008. I'm gonna say 2008. So it was like my first year of undergraduate college, and I was in Atlanta. I went to the mall, Lenox Mall, my favorite mall at the time. Those of you who live in Atlanta or who take the MARTA often know that Lenox is right next to one of the MARTA stations. So you get off the MARTA station and you walk right over down the street to Lenox Mall, where there are a bunch of other shops and things like that. So I was going that day by myself to buy a pair of purple Nikes, which I saw the other day, and I was like, I'm gonna get these when I have a chance. So I went back to get them that evening, and it was pretty late, I believe, when I first went there, maybe like 5 or 6. So I walked around the mall for a while. By the time I got out, it was even later, and I saw a homeless gentleman on the street, and I had $5 on me. I don't usually have cash, but for some reason I did that day, and so I gave it to this man and proceeded to walk to the the MARTA station, and realized when I got there something was wrong with my debit card, so the machine wouldn't take it, so I couldn't get a ticket. And of course, like I said, I just gave away my last $5, so I was like, okay, have to get a ride. So I called my dad, who lived there, thankfully, and let him know, yeah, can you come get me? I'm stuck at the MARTA station. So I'm stuck at Lenox Mall. And so he came to get me. He was on his way to come get me. But while I was sitting there, this young man goes by and proceeds to talk to me, while I'm pretty sure it looked like I wasn't interested in being spoken to, because I was reading a book, which, you know, that's my usual thing. So he starts talking to me and, acting as if he was interested, and I, spoke back, but at the time, I believe I was 19 years old, and I could tell that he was not that old. Like, he was younger than that, like 15 or 16. Like, it was clear to me that he was a young person, and like I said, I was young too, but he looked like he was in high school still, and he seemed that way. He seemed pretty immature, because the next thing he said to me through his conversation was, so, what you mixed with? And I was like, I had to pause, because first of all, I was like, who asked someone that? And I'm like, what do you mean? What am I mixed with? Do I look like an ice cream cone to you? What am I mixed with? I'm not an object. So I'm like, nothing. I'm black. I'm a black woman. And he was like, oh, you just look like you're mixed with something else. Like, he tried to qualify his statement, which to me, like, it was crazy enough. It didn't need a qualification. Like, don't let things like that come out of your mouth, because it sounds très ignorant, so don't say it. But anyway, he did, and I let him know I'm just a black woman. And I asked him then how old he was. I felt comfortable asking then, because at this point he showed me that he just seemed like a little immature. Because I don't think that that's something that you ask someone that you just meet. I don't think that's something that you ask anybody ever, because it just shows a sign of ignorance. But that's neither here nor there. So I asked him how old he was. He asked me how old I was first, because he's trying to make sure that he says the right age. And I was like, I'm 19. He was like, yeah, me too. I'm the same age. And I was like, oh, okay. I did not believe him. And then we went on. He kept talking and asked me if I wanted to see some ID. And I was like, yes, I do. That would be fantastic. So he brought out some ID, and it said he was born in 1991, which at that time he would have been 16 years old. So I was like, this says 1991. You are not 19 years old. And he was like, yeah, but, I'm from New York. Only Southern guys are the ones who go out with women that are younger than them, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, well, whatever. And he asked for my number. Can you believe it? After all that, first he asked me what I'm mixed with, which I found crazy enough, because I know I looked at him sideways when he said that. And then I found out that he was just a fetus, and he still wanted my number. And I was like, no, you cannot. Actually, I said, are you serious? Which may have sounded a little rude, but I didn't care, because I was not feeling him, and he was just young and kind of ridiculous. So he walked away, or was just like, oh, okay, well then. And I said, bye, have a good evening. And it just struck me, and it's something that I remember to this day, because it was so crazy. I was like, I wonder if women actually respond to a man saying something like them with a smile or a giggle, like, oh, he thinks I'm mixed. I don't think so, because I actually think that people who are biracial or of several different ethnicities take the word mixed to be derogatory. Maybe not, but maybe they do. I have no idea, but I do know that it just showed me, even to this day, because people still walk around talking like that, good hair, bad hair, light skin, dark skin, blah blah blah, as if these things really matter at the end of the day, because they don't. It just let me know that we as a people in this country especially just need a lot of education. And yeah, that's what that showed me, and it still makes me laugh to this day. But at the same time, it's kind of sad, because it's like you go up to a person and talk to them because you think that they're not completely black, and that makes them somehow exotic, because after all, it's a woman, it's not a person, it's an object, it's something to be objectified. That's what I took from it. Maybe he wasn't saying all that, because at the end of the day he was only 15 or 16, but we have to be cognizant of the things we say to people. We have to be cognizant of why we say them. Like, we need to get a grip on ourselves. If you're going up to somebody, you're thinking about asking them out or asking for their phone number, never make them feel like they're an object. Don't make them feel like, oh, well, you know, I only talk to mixed girls, I only talk to this type, because I'm going to ask you, oh, you only talk to this type of girl, or do those girls talk back to you? Because if they don't, or do those guys talk, well, I guess I wouldn't have this conversation with a woman. But think about why you do stuff. Like, don't ever let yourself just do something without a purpose, because not cute, not good. So that's my first story time video. I hope this wasn't too long, and I hope it wasn't insulting to anyone, but that was my story. If anyone has anything similar or has a comment below. Don't get too crazy, don't get too rude, because I will delete your comments. Read a book. Later.